What would you do if your daughter went out for ice cream one day and never came back? The Australian action thriller called Life After Fighting shows that and much more. Released on June 7, 2024, this movie was not only written and directed by Bren, but he also stars in it as a former fighter turned martial arts instructor who frees two young girls from a child trafficking ring. Alex Faulkner is an expert martial arts instructor who's almost like a father figure to his students. It's been a while since he's been ignoring the online attacks of Ario Gomez, a popular fighter who wants to challenge him on a one-to-one fight. One day, a woman named Samantha shows up at his school to get her son Terry enrolled. It doesn't take her long to book some private sessions with Alex too. Later that day, Samantha's ex-husband Victor also shows up at the school to pay for Terry's classes, and Alex observes how uncomfortable Samantha gets in his presence. Alex picks up on Victor's abusive tendencies and responds smartly to his covert threat, which impresses Samantha even more. Alex teaches both kids and adults, but even all that work doesn't help him forget the love of his life, Kara. One day, after his session with Samantha, she asks him out to dinner, but he refuses with the reason that he doesn't see students or parents on a social basis outside of school. She leaves awkwardly and he regrets getting in over his head, which is why he sets up a date with her. They learn about each other over dinner, oblivious to the fact that Victor has been watching them. The next day, Victor arrives at the school with his hillbilly friend and creates a scene. Alex tries to send him away because a lot of students and parents are going to be arriving soon. But Victor's friend shoves Alex multiple times, which results in him getting a good beatdown. Alex has him in a chokehold in no time. He makes it very clear not to come to his school ever again, which is when he realizes that a student and his mother has been watching this violent side of him, which is when he lets the man go. That night, Samantha shows up at Alex's house to discuss how invasive Victor is. Alex learns that Samantha has a restraining order against Victor, but he refuses to comply with the orders. She confides in him about Victor's abuse and spends the night with him. The next morning, he cooks her breakfast and reveals that he found out right before his last fight that he had become infertile because of multiple spine injuries. He admits for the first time that his head was all over the place, which is why he threw his last fight. He also broke up with Kara, even though she was fine with his infertility because he didn't want her to miss out on having a child of her own. Alex asked a student to do a background check on Victor as he starts to spend more time with Samantha and Terry. On her frequent visits to the school, Samantha notices Alex's co-worker, Julie's daughter, Violet, who also takes classes from Alex. One day, two military-grade fighters join a beginner's class and fight Alex even though he insists that they leave peacefully. He has no other option but to go full fighter mode and defeat those men in front of his adult students. The men leave as the police are about to get to the school. Sometime later, Violet and her little sister Lainey get ice cream money from Alex and invite him to join them, but he passes up on the offer. On their way back to school, the girls are abducted by masked men in a black van. When Julie looks for them, all she finds is their ice cream cones lying on the concrete outside the school. The police keep investigating and searching for the missing girls, while Alex and Samantha comfort Julie and her family. A week passes by and there's still no sign of the girls. Julie tells Alex that her husband Wayne is on duty in a desert where she can't contact him at all. She loses hope and overdoses on pills. Meanwhile, her daughters are kept in captivity with some other girls their age. Victor manipulates Samantha into telling him that the police have no leads on Violet's case yet. 2 weeks after the abduction, Alex's student mentioned Victor's military background, but he is more focused on finding the girls, which seems impossible at this point. Ario also comes to the school to get his fight and suffers defeat at Alex's hands. Meanwhile, the girls get photographed to be sold off. Victor hasn't been picking up Samantha's calls, so she goes to his house to pick up Terry. There, she spots Victor's friend who's been keeping the girls locked up in his backyard. Samantha hides and tries to call Alex or the police, but her phone is running out of battery. Before it turns off, she sends their address to Alex, hoping it'll get through. She gets knocked out by the kidnapper when Alex finally gets her message. Alex drives to Victor's house as he reveals to Samantha that he sells kids off to Romania. He takes away Terry in his car while his friend takes a nap now that everyone is back in their cages. Alex gets there and rescues everyone, driving them away in a black van. When Victor hears of this, he cuts off Terry's finger and shows it to Samantha and Alex to blackmail them into exchanging Terry with the girls. One of the girls dies due to a head injury as Victor and his accomplices show up at the school for the exchange. Alex takes them all down one by one with his bare hands until he is held at gunpoint by Victor, who has Terry's life in his hands. Samantha jumps in to help him, but Victor still succeeds to shoot her once and put 3 bullets through Alex. Even then, Alex manages to finish him off, only to collapse seconds later. 3 weeks later, Samantha drives Terry and Alex in a wheelchair to a warm, sunny cookout organized by his students to celebrate the girls' homecoming. The girls and their parents thank him, including Julie and Wayne. Alex nods and smiles at his student who's intervened that time of day and rushed him to the hospital to save his life. This movie tries to incorporate a lot in its 2-hour screen time. We see a fighter's journey that takes a toll on his health and personal life, along with how difficult it is for women to live their lives even after coming out of a toxic and abusive relationship. There's also redemption in Alex's progress after he is thrown under the unexpected circumstances, along with a mother's pain and yearning for her child, portrayed through a commentary on a greater social issue of child abuse and trafficking. Bren Foster takes a lot on himself for his passion project, and yet he seems to have delivered on almost every aspect. Even though Bren Foster and Cassie Howarth's acting seem mediocre in their solo scenes, there is an undeniable chemistry between them, especially in the first half of the movie. However, there are some flaws with the pacing of this movie, as it has way too many subplots going on with the main story, and it takes time to tie all the loose ends up, making this movie longer than what most audiences prefer these days. But other than that, Bren Foster and his team has done a spectacular job with making this movie a perfect mix of action, romance, thrill, and drama. The most impressive thing about the action sequences in this movie is how realistic they are, possibly from the fact that no CGI was used and neither were the movements speeding up. Keeping that in mind, Bren Foster and his stunt team has delivered a masterpiece of raw, realistic fighting scenes. The way they use the school as the perfect location for fights and the setup for Victor's lair for keeping children locked up is also remarkable. The camera also keeps up with the swift movements, making the movie fun to watch. The key musical moment in this movie would be the legendary fighting sequence between Alex and Ario, where he both redeems and proves himself to be the reigning champion. This moment is complemented by the rap playing in the background, which shows how angry yet determined Alex is in the face of all his troubles. Similarly, the happy ending is also commemorated with an upbeat song to give the audience some closure. The emotional aspects can be seen in how helpless both Julie and Samantha are shown to be in their respective positions. This movie tries to give the viewer a perfect package and does a fair job, as it has a 6.1 rating on IMDb and an 84% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It was released in selected theaters and on demand instead of a mass release, but earned well among its niche. It's natural not to have a lot of high expectations from a B-grade movie, but this one might pleasantly surprise you. If you want to see an action-packed film, Life After Fighting can be your go-to. It will be enjoyable for fans of action movies who like old-school fighting and heroic actors saving the day. And that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel to watch the latest and exclusive movie reviews. And if you have any requests, thoughts, or recommendations for movie reviews, just drop them below in the comment section, and we will see you in the next one.